Hi everybody and welcome back to Weekly Real Estate Tips with Torie. So this week I thought it would be fun if we did something a little bit different. Recently I've been asked to teach several classes. They're mainly geared towards real estate agents, but I thought it would be fun to answer some of your questions in the form of a collaboration of all the videos of the classes that I've done over the past couple months.
We're going to be talking about, like I said, prospecting and schedules first, and then we'll go into negotiation. Some of the things that I really believe, if you guys were on my last class, I talked about this. I firmly believe in having somebody hold you accountable. So one of the things that we do on my team here is I personally coach all of my agents. And I'm not saying you have to get a business coach, but I am saying having somebody hold you accountable and your actions. A lot of agents, I think, wing this career. So they go after the career. They are like, great, I get to show houses. It's going to be fun. And that's the very beginning of what we do as agents. I think the core of what we do as agents really comes to light once we get a property that we're going to do a contract on. And as you guys mostly know, contract to close is probably the hardest part, depending especially on who your clients are. But how do you get that client to that point, right? So currently I have somebody in escrow that I worked with for 2.5 years. And that's pretty common. I do a lot of second home and relo. So some of those people can be 3 years out. And how do you get them keeping you at their forefront of mind when they decide finally 2 years from now that, hey, I'm ready to buy that home? So whether you're looking at, a 3-month period, that tends to be a little bit easier, a 6-month period or longer. I think that the communication and what you do as an agent to be forefront of what they think of when they think real estate. So jokingly, you'll hear me, if I'm around clients, I say many times, when you think real estate, I want you to think Torie. And I'll say it many times throughout when we discuss things. Oh, you thought real estate, your friend's buying? Did you think Torie? Did you talk about me? And I joke with them. But I have that relationship with clients that they know I'm there and I'm constantly in front of them. So when we talk, the very first thing that I really believe to be effective is a calendar. My agents hear me preach this because in all aspects of your career and your life, time blocking and time management is everything. It starts with being organized. So a lot of people, they're like, yeah, on my calendar, I've got that one showing, but they don't have everything blocked. So what I suggest you do, and again, my agents that are coached, they every morning, 5 a.m., they know, get me your schedules. They text me their schedules so I can look through them and just make sure that they're on point. And again, having that somebody, that you answer to. I personally am very, very efficient, and I make sure that I'm up usually somewhere between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. And then I'm on to schedule, and it's depending on the day, it's very long. Yesterday I felt like I needed 2 of me, but the only way I can be that efficient is by time blocking my schedule. So if there's things that you have that you want to personally get done, you should time block that first. So that goes in the morning. I think that that early time, if you guys haven't read The Miracle Morning, it's a book that I encourage my agents to read. I think that it really shows you there's hours that are precious to us, and when you're operating on all cylinders, and we give so much, right? This career is a 7-day a week, all the time. You're always giving. So you need to block that time for yourself. I do that in the morning, 5 a.m. I've got my routine down, and to where by 6:37, I'm ready to hit the client schedules. I do have clients that are like, okay with me calling at 7 a.m., obviously 8 a.m. for most. But with time blocking, make sure you're updating your schedule and your calendar. Block your personal appointments, block your time to do your prospecting and time to do your follow-up. If you don't block it and it's not on your calendar, it's not going to happen. So if you said, hey, I have a doctor's appointment and it's June 15th at 11 a.m. and you don't put that in your calendar, you're probably not going to show up to that doctor's appointment. There's too much that we do in a day that gets lost. So everything should be time blocked on your calendar. Specifically, you should have blocking for phone calls and follow-up. Some of my clients or some of my agents are big on social media. So we time block their social media where they're going in and they're actively doing things there to, again, generate that you're the person, that your face is in front of people. So first and foremost, let's talk about a CRM. If you don't have a CRM, I believe, Kelly, if I'm not mistaken, that My home group still has the ability to do a personal platform with Boomtown. If yes.
Yeah, we have Boomtown and conversion options for agents.
So look into that platform. There's many CRMs out there, but you need a CRM. Everybody should go into your CRM, even your sphere, and they should be tagged as such. The thing with the CRM is it's going to be your brain. When you get busy, my highest volume on my own without an assistant and showing agent, I did 24 million in real estate volume by myself, no assistant. And yes, I didn't have a life, and yes, my schedule was insane, but everything was time blocked, and my CRM was my brain. So when you're actively managing that many clients at one time, remember, I've got people that are 6 months out, I've got people that are 3 years out, and I've got people that are 30 days out. I have to be able to stay in front of them appropriately and not drop the ball, right? That's the one thing that you'll hear when people get busy is, oh man, I forgot. Well, you shouldn't forget if you have a CRM. If you put everything into that CRM and you tag appropriately, okay, this is a 30-day, this is a 60-day. We even did a tag for the coronavirus. So every client that was on hold for the coronavirus, as soon as things lifted, we were able to efficiently go in there and reach out to them and say, hey, Arizona's back open. Where are you at? How are you doing? Are you comfortable with this yet? And be able to reach those people, again, within 5 minutes or less, pulling that tag. So if you tag your 30-day, you tag your 60-day, you tag your 90-day, and then after that, you can do a 6 to 12 month, and you can do a 12 to 18 or a 12 to 24. There's tags that you can make, and this is in Boomtown, so each platform's different. I don't sell Boomtown, but I use it. I've tried a few CRMs. Boomtown for me has been the most effective. Again, every CRM is going to have their glitches, but the key behind a CRM is this should be your brain. During the day, I know it's old school, but I will literally keep a notepad with me at all times. That notepad has become my assistant. But if she's not with me, I have a notepad and I'm writing down things that I have to get done. Whether that be a client calls me and says, hey, can you pull this property and can we see that tomorrow at 11? That's being written down. It's going to go on my calendar as soon as I stop, right? If you're busy, a lot of it is going to be driving, right? That window time, you lose effectiveness if you don't have something to quickly write down and say, okay, I'm not going to forget this. So everything that is on that notepad I accomplish, and then notes into Boomtown. If I know I'm driving and I just spoke to a client and I need to update my CRM, I'm going to write down briefly what I discussed. Now, for some of you, if you're not managing big profiles, you think, well, I only have 15 clients that I'm working with overall. That's still, you can still drop the ball. So even if you're not operating on a high level, if you do not have a CRM, you will forget something, you will drop the ball, and your clients will feel it. Your client should see, hear something from you a minimum of once a month, even if they're 3 years out. So there's a couple ways to do that. If they currently own a home, I like to put them on HomeBot, and I also set them up again through my CRM to be receiving a monthly update on their property value. I also send out a monthly newsletter. Now, again, you have to adapt this to what you guys are at with each of your careers and where you're at, but they should be hearing from you. People need to see you as the market expert. When they go to buy a home, if you haven't been in front of them, if you have not pitched yourself as being the person who knows this market better than anyone else and who is in it every day, and again, you can present that. Even if you're not showing homes all day long, you can show, oh gosh, I'm so excited I get to do this, right? Social media has been amazing because you can present to them, I'm out here in this market every day and I know it. It's one of the things I talk to clients about when I first discuss with them, why me? I am a market expert. I have data, I have facts, and I quote that. I don't just quote my opinion. So you guys need to be in front of people once a month. If they're actively looking and maybe they're just thinking, hey, I'm in California, I'm gonna buy next year, I don't know when. The thing is, again, build a relationship with them. And I say to them, that's excellent. You know what? Many of my clients can be 1 to 3 years out. I'm not going to pester you every day and say, here, do you want to see this property? Because I get that you're a year out. But what I do believe is that if I send you market updates with properties, I can send them weekly, I can send them monthly. You'll at least have a general overview of what this market is. So when you do go to buy, you see and you're comfortable with the prices and the neighborhoods, and we've narrowed that down. So a minimum of once a month. Social media, guys, it's free marketing. Why aren't you using it? If you're on there and you're not marketing through that platform, why not? So you see a post, a friend, a client, a something, they have a birthday, go in and wish them happy birthday. On that line too, I send out handwritten personal cards with a little $10 gift card in them for all my birthdays. Doesn't matter if they closed 3 years ago or if they closed a month ago, they all get birthday cards every month. Again, you're going to have to be efficient and be able to time block those, times to write the cards out, get the gifts. So if you have that on your calendar, the week before, usually the last week of the month, is when I prepare for the next month. Obviously I have staff to do that, but guys, this started because I used to do this all on my own, and I've built to a point where my staff has come on board. But everything that I am talking about is systems and processes that I have done over the years, which has led me, to the point where we are now in my career. But on those social media, go through and look at people's posts and comment on them. Make sure they're seeing you and thinking of you. Blend your social media with business and personal. It's one of the things I just talked to my assistant about the other day, like, hey, we have a ton of business on my social. We need to start doing more personal. And if you go through it, you'll see me in my mountain biking gear with a goofy helmet on. And it's like, hey, that's what I am, right? So don't be afraid to show who you are on social media. I'm not in agreement of like, I hold very professional, I guess, my opinion of who we are as agents. So I'm not on social media putting curse words out there and saying, I try to stay very neutral when it comes to everything going on. So coronavirus, we kept updates and stuff like that. But as far as my personal opinion of the virus and of even right now, all the riots, I keep that off social media because I don't believe that that's just a personal thing. I mean, you guys can do what you want, but I believe that my social platform isn't so people hear my political voice, right? Like that can be done elsewhere. I tend to keep it to personal things and business on social, but it's free. So when we talk about that too, let's talk about video. Most people are so afraid of like, oh, that video is horrible or this and that. And I can't send video because I don't video well. It's your face. They see it every day. Doesn't matter if that's who you are, right? Like, oh, I can analyze and critique myself like, oh, in that video, my eye was squinty and my this and that. Doesn't matter. When people are talking to me, that's what they see. So when we talk about keeping in touch with people, oftentimes you're like, ooh, where did they go, right? Like what is happening here? I've been reaching out to you and it's nothing. So you're looking like this, like, are we in the middle of this desert and nobody is there? What, am I this ball flying through the air? Does anybody see me? And it's tough because you are reaching out. What you don't want to do is put a blow up text chain, something of 1 minute after the next, then you're going, hey, are you there? Are you there? Hey, hi. It's me. The people are like, whoa, calm down. So you don't want to do the extreme. They don't want to hear from you, but you don't want to blow them up. What you should be doing, you can find some funny ways to, send a text with some little crickets and say, hey guys, I'm here. Did you get my text, right? Sometimes we send a text and you know that they're there and all of a sudden they're not responding again, right? Like, hey, you texted me. I responded, you're gone. Did you die? So there's kind of that happy medium. One of the things I love to do is I literally pick up my phone, go to a text, video me, hey, hi, it's Torie, not trying to stalk you, just wanted you to know I've been trying to reach you, and send that video. Text video gets responses. They'll laugh, they'll send you oh, I'm sorry, I've been busy. You basically want them to know that you're there without making it overwhelming. But video is something that people associate. If they've seen you on video, they associate in their brain, there's studies that prove this, that they have met you. So many times when I'm talking to a client and I've sent video to them through Boomtown, we use BombBomb, which integrates into Boomtown, or I'll send a text. They'll say to me, oh yeah, when we talked or when we met last, and I think, oh, I've never physically met this person, but they're associating that they've met me because they've seen me on video. So videos are super powerful. If you don't have BombBomb, look into them. You can also, like I said, it integrates into CRMs. I know into Boomtown. I don't know what other ones it does, but videos are very powerful. And that's the thing too, is you don't have to pick it up to say, hey, I can't reach you. You can say, hey guys, just wanted to see how you're doing. If I have a closing, I update my clients throughout the day of that closing. Okay, the lender just sent the wire. All right, the wire hit. They're getting text. And I tell them that. That's what they've come to expect. Throughout the day, you're going to get these texts. When it closes, obviously, I pick up the phone to call them. Oh my gosh, congratulations, or whatever it is. First time home buyer, it doesn't matter. Congratulations, you now own a home in Arizona. Or I just sold your home. Congratulations, you don't own a home anymore. You're free to move. So when I do that, though, if I call and it goes to voicemail, I'm not going to leave that on voicemail. I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to send a video. And it's raw, it is what it is, but people love video. I cannot stress enough the importance of video. So staying in front of people, keeping your calls in. So when we talk about calls, my agents minimum, I like to see them on the phone 10 hours a week, minimum. During those hours of calls, who are you calling? You should have, there's daily, I have a whole list of people that they call. To where you should be calling your sphere, you should be reaching out to your power partners, you should be calling anything that moves your business forward, whether it's education, again, getting the data, having the facts, and talking to people about that. One of the things that most people, if you know, they're going to ask you, how is the market doing? You can dig a little deeper, right? The quick response is the market's crazy right now. If properties are priced well, most of them are going with multiple offers. There's things you can talk about, but what is somebody asking you, really? So a lot of times when somebody will ask me, how's the market right now? I say, well, when you're referring to the market, are you asking me where the prices are? What do you mean? And I want to dig a little deeper with them, but it's having those conversations, being on the phone and talking to people, getting them talking to you. Again, you're going to be able to then take those notes that you made on the calls and update your CRM. So 2 hours a week. If you don't have a huge, reason to call a bunch of people, then get lists from your title company and cold call. I know everybody's afraid of cold calling, but the thing is that depending on your volume of business that you want, if you're not with a team or you're not buying leads and a team's not giving you leads and you don't have enough business, then you need to build that business. And the way to do that is through conversations. At the end of the day, real estate is a big numbers game. The more conversations you have, the more opportunities you have to convert. The more you convert, the more you're going to get clients at close. It's a numbers game. You've got to stay on top of it. Are there any questions on this portion of it? Are we good? If you guys have any questions on follow-up or anything we've talked about so far before I move on to negotiation?
Hey, Torie, I do. This is Carol Murray.
Okay.
And I am brand spanking new to this business. And so you referenced getting lists from the title company. Is that a viable option to gain leads from? I'm not sure where to start.
The list from title. So first, what I would encourage you to do as a brand new agent, you need to find a mentor. I started this career a long time ago. I know I look so young, you wouldn't believe that. I'm just kidding. But I started a long time ago, and I literally was thrown into real estate. Like, I had no mentor, I had nothing. One of the things that I find the most helpful for my agents that are brand new is finding a mentor. And I know that at my home group, even if you're not on a team, they have so many resources that basically will give you that mentorship within the company. It's one of the things, why do I not start my own thing? Why don't I hang my license somewhere else? Because I truly believe that my home group as a broker and as a company are one of the best places you could be. So look into some of the resources there, but get a mentor. And when I'm referring to lists from the title company, they're able to provide you specified lists. I use lawyers, and my rep is Chris. He's amazing. And I've been through a few reps. The thing is, these are my power partners, right? These are my relationships that I rely on for many things. So when I'm needing somebody from a title company, there's specific things that I need from them. And if they can't produce that, you change it. So it's a relationship that you have to have, like a great relationship with them, much like you would any relationship. It doesn't fit, find someone else. There's plenty of them out there. But with that, I can tell Chris, like, hey, I need a list of people in this zip code or in this neighborhood that have owned their homes for at least 3 years, that have at least 30% or more equity. Whatever the numbers you want to give. If you're starting a farm, that's another, like any pillar of business for yourself. So you have your sphere, if you're going to do a farm, if you're going to cold call, if you're going to do open houses, successful agents, you need to have at least 10 to 15 sources and pillars that drive your business. So you can get as specific as you'd like. Like I said, if you're going to farm, you can have them pull that neighborhood list. You could do pop buys. You have to saturate, if you are building a farm, you have to saturate them to know who you are. they're not even going to recognize that you're a neighborhood expert for at least 6 months minimum. But you can't give up on it. So there's a lot of pillars that you can lead to your business, but title is one of them. If you haven't matched up to a good title rep, definitely find someone to interview. I know, again, my home group, that's where they're amazing. They absolutely will hook you up with some of the power partners that they've paired with. And again, interview them. Tell them, I'm new. This is what I need. Don't be afraid to tell someone who's there to help you what you need, because they're not going to guess. They can't read your mind. And you may not know what you need, but you tell them, I'm new and I really am looking for some sources of business. So when we talk about a virtual consult, I believe heavily, and again, guys, I'm going to be coaching you through maybe some practices that I do with my team that I have found to be very successful, not just the virtual side of it, but what helps alongside of doing it, you know, certain practices virtually. So we'll go ahead and put up this virtual buyer consult slide. And one of the things that I like to do with every buyer is I like to make sure that they understand what they're doing. I believe all too often agents are so quick to just go show a home, and the buyer gets to the point where they don't know kind of the next steps and the processes. So I believe heavily in a buyer consult. Outside of a virtual one, I do them regularly. So when it comes to that virtual buyer consult, what we're going to do is we're going to go over that same process with them, and we have slideshows created around our virtual buyer consult. During the virtual consult, what we talk about is the steps. And what I tell my buyers is, listen, I'm going to give you an overview of the process of buying a home in Arizona. Remember, even if they're not first-time home buyers, they could be first-time Arizona home buyers. So you want to go over the process of buying a home in Arizona. It is vastly different from states that people move from. And again, if they're first-time buyers, and maybe even if they're seasoned buyers, I still like to talk about that process because it may have been many years. And in that, we talk about the initial steps of meeting with me and meeting with an agent and talking about their likes, their desires, their dreams, what are your goals in home ownership. And then we talk about their financials. You know, did you get with a lender? I believe, again, that, you know, everybody's time is very valuable. And now more than ever, people aren't wanting you in their properties unless you have qualified buyers. So getting them qualified and talking about setting up with a lender, and then the steps of the process of home buying and walking them through the overview. I also tell my people along every step, hey, don't forget, we're talking about overview right now, but I will remind you as we hit key milestones, such as inspections, and I'll remind you of what's coming up next. Again, after that buyer consult, we're going to talk with them about your home favorites. So we'll get you set up on a custom home search, make sure we're notifying you of all the listings that fit exactly what you're looking for. We have an app. We also have a portal through, as you guys do, the Flex site, but also through our website, they've got a way to go ahead and notify us of their favorites. So when I'm talking to clients about that, again, HA loan, and you're sending them conventional, we try to really get customized with our searches and make sure that they understand not only are we monitoring the search daily, but we're sending them properties that fit what they're looking for. And again, we use a couple of different things. We use our website, we use MLS, but then we also have an app. So I think it's important to really go over with the clients what their goals, and it's really easy to ask somebody, oh, you want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath? Well, come on, you know, anybody can say that. What are you looking for? What lifestyle do you want? That's something I really hone in on. What are the things that when you're at home are, you know, Arizona's big for outdoor living. Is that something you want, a great backyard? Even if they're talking about their first home and we're talking about a condo, you want to find the things that they're looking for. Do they need to be around bus lines? Do they need to be near their work? Find all of the things and then hone in on that search and really show them that you're the market expert, not just sending them random properties. So the next step is going to be virtual showings. So we've been looking, they've been watching property searches. And again, even if people are a couple months out, one of the things that I like to emphasize is, even if, let's say, somebody tells me they're 6 months out, one of the things I tell them is, look, let's get you go ahead and start a search now, because we may want to start looking 2 to 3 months out. But prior to that, I want you to be able to watch the market. And in doing so, when you're watching the market, that's going to give you an education on what properties are going for. I think possibly many of you have heard the things that I'm hearing, which is, oh, properties are dropping. Properties are going to drop with all of this. And I'm going to tell you that the best thing you can do is have data. Okay. One of the datas that I've been sharing just recently is that in April, 27% of the properties sold above list price. That's data. If I have an opinion, that's just something that doesn't hold much weight. But if I can back up facts and data to my clients, I become a knowledgeable market expert, somebody they want to listen to. So once we get to the point where we're ready to look, virtual showings. There's a couple different apps that you can use. FaceTime obviously is very easy, but some of the clients aren't going to have that. So Zoom is one of them you can put on your phone. Marco Polo is something that's pretty amazing. It's actually an app that you can record the video and play it back so the client can watch it again and again and again. Also too, if you want to use different things so you're not shaking and the phone's moving all over the place, remember that if you're virtually showing real time, there's someone on the other end of that. You do not want them getting nauseous trying to look at a home. Make sure you're moving slower than normal, right? I think it's very easy when we have someone with us that we're all, okay, here's this, walking them through the features. That's the other thing, you know, when I'm walking someone through, I get to learn what their important feature is in the home. If it's the backyard, I start in the backyard. If it's, you know, the kitchen, we start in the kitchen. And I try to walk them through the home in the order that they kind of are favoriting and what their lifestyle is catered towards. But make sure that you have the proper equipment prior. Don't show up and just pop your phone open and quickly rush them through. Make sure that your equipment works. The other thing you've got to watch is if the signal is low where you're showing, you're not going to be able to get on FaceTime or features like that, and it's going to glitch and cut out. So there's many others, but that Marco Polo is one that we really like because, again, you can pause it and free play, and the clients can really get an interactive experience. Okay, which list? Are we wanting the Marco Polo one? We'll share that one more time, but if you guys miss anything, I'm here. We can help. We can give you some of these tips. I can give you guys my cell phone at the end, but I am absolutely available to answer any questions you may have. So the other thing that we're going to cover, right? We've looked at homes. We now find the home that we like. What's the next step? Signing your documents. Now, if you guys have not switched over to Transaction Desk, I would highly recommend you do it. I was kind of stuck in the DocuSign error and loving it. I've gotten very good at Transaction Desk. It does eventually, once you get comfortable with it, make the process so much smoother for you guys with getting documents signed and adjusted. But we're going to give them the ability to electronically sign. Now, guys, listen, that's been what we've practiced, right? This is nothing new. But believe it or not, there's still people out there that ask me when I have to bring them over their documents to sign. So emphasizing to them that everything is electronically done. Even if I'm not talking about a virtual world, I bring that up to my clients in the beginning. The other thing I highly recommend you do is you get them a copy of a example contract. Because the first time, and this is what I tell my clients, the first time I want you seeing these documents is not when you've got 5 minutes to sign them because I'm up against a multiple offer and I've got to get that offer over. So I get them a copy of the contract right in that initial consult. And I tell them, I don't need you to be my expert in real estate. That's what I'm there for. I don't need you to be a market expert. That's what I'm there for. I'm going to get you comps. I'm going to go over them with you. But I want you to at least have eyes on the things you're going to be signing. So we talk about the fact that I'm going to get them electronic documents and how they'll be signing them. Obviously, we're not going to talk about, this slide is giving an overview. But one of the overviews I like to give them is the fact that inspections. So when it's inspection time, we are going to make it possible for you to not have to physically be at the home inspection. And again, that's more common than you realize, especially when you've got relocation and second home buyers. So when I'm with the inspector, what I'm doing is I'm just basically being there in lieu of them physically being there. We send them the report before we actually pull them up on the phone and talk with them. And then we go through the report just as if we would as if they were there. And they're looking at the photos, they're talking about everything. And we're basically answering all their questions as if they were there. And if I have to pop them on one of the, again, virtual, apps or on FaceTime or whatever it is, we'll make sure to do that. After the inspection, obviously, is the appraisal. And I tell them, the appraisal, you wouldn't typically be there anyhow. So that's handled. And then the next thing we're going to be talking about is, once we've made it through that entire process, closing. Different title companies have enacted different requirements. Sometimes if it's, cash transactions, sometimes they don't even need to have a notary sign. But if a notary is required, I would encourage you to check with the title company you partner with and make sure you get how they're handling. I know the title company that I work with, we're still handling notaries to my client's house. And again, most of my clients have felt that's more controlled and safe because they can wipe the surfaces, they can do all those sort of things. So just letting them know that that can happen electronically as well. And then the next thing is, we're going to get them the keys, right? Day of closing. And again, we've talked about all this, but when it comes to day of closing and getting them the keys, we even offer to deliver it to the clients. Now, when we do the final walkthrough, we've done that virtually for many clients. So again, putting them on for FaceTime or the app or whatever, so that way they physically see the home and sign off on that final walk is, in my opinion, imperative. But when it comes to the keys, we're going to give those to you. We will bring them to you, whether it be at your home. If you're out of town, we will make sure they are FedEx tracked and all those other things. And whatever the client is most comfortable with, we're going to do that. So that's basically the home buying and how we're doing that virtual setup. Now, for your equipment and programs, let me put this slide up for you one more time. If you guys want to, again, if you don't catch this right away, I'm going to give you a few minutes here. But these are the different apps, equipment, and programs, and they're in order as such. So the apps are on the top. And these are just a few, guys. There's so many out there, but these are the few that we have found to be a little bit better. The equipment is below that. And then that new GoPro, if you guys don't have it, we've purchased a ton of, I've apparently become very good at buying different cameras and equipments and all these different items that help what we do. So the new GoPro is amazing. It's got 360-degree views with it. The Matterport camera is great, and you guys can do that. But there's also, gimbals and different things too to help you keep stable when you're holding your phone. Again, you are professionals, right? You are real estate professionals. Please make sure you're letting your clients feel that. If I am doing a showing and my phone's all over the place and it's moving and it's cutting in and out, clients aren't going to have much confidence, number one, in my ability to be virtual, and number two, in my ability to get them through this transaction strong, right? So that's something I think is really important. So how to present yourself to be the best offer on the table. You would think it's always price. I don't think that that's the case necessarily all of the time. We have been able to get properties to our clients that we weren't the best price on the table, and the reverse of that. We've been the best price on the table and they didn't take our offer. So I think it's important that we look at that as a whole. So let's first go into, I want to cover the offer portion first. And then I want to talk about you guys as agents and how you can set yourself apart. So yes, we know it's a challenge right now, okay? So very first and foremost, I think the most important thing that I can recommend you do up front is be prepared and call the listing agent. Do not just prepare an offer and send it over. You know what your offer is going to be. Call the listing agent. This is where we're going to sell. If anybody tells you you're good at selling houses, this is where you sell them. You're not going to sell a house to a client, right? The client knows what they like. You're going to help match them up with features and stuff to properties that fit, but you are not going to sell anything really until you sell this offer. And this is where calling the listing agent and knowing your data and your facts and everything else, but be prepared to strongly present not only yourself, your client, and your offer. Those are the three key ingredients here. As a listing agent, their concern is what? Are we going to get this file to close? As a listing agent, it's frustrating. You feel like things are out of your power and out of your control. Really, it truly feels to me, and many times as a listing agent, I have to trust that the other agent that we've selected will fully not only represent their client, but have the ability to get this file to closing. And there's so many ins and outs in that, right? Not negotiating up front, but then the ends are negotiating, the appraisal, the lender that they've chosen, is the lender going to comply? And all of these other elements are going to weigh on the decision of which offer my clients choose. Now, I'm not going to tell my clients, I do have some clients that are going to say, Torie, I've worked with you enough times. You're going to point out the best, and I'll look them all over, but I'm going to go with your judgment and your recommendation. But many of the times I'm going to list out and I'm going to columnize all the offers, and I'm going to show my client exactly what we have. But then I'm also going to tell them the agent and what, the agent, the offer, and the buyer. We're going to cover those three things. So when you're selling yourself, right, it comes down to, have you discussed with your buyer the inspection period, what that inspection period is for? Does it mean we nitpick and we're going to take a house and make it a brand new home? Absolutely not, right? We're buying a property. We're concerned about the major components and things that may not be working. This is not a chance to upgrade the property. It's just simply a chance to fix the things that are major important that are not working properly. If any of you guys, and no offense, but if you've worked with Gen Z buyers, this is the hardest buyer group that I have faced, getting them to understand that the Benzer does not mean that the roof needs a couple $100 in repairs. Let's ask for a whole new roof. But prepare your clients up front, and do not get to the inspection period at the wrap up, and this is not the time to have that discussion for the first time. So that's something that I do up front with buyers in a buyer consult before I ever even start working with clients, is I kind of prepare them for the process of buying. And then I'm going to, when I call that agent, I'm going to tell them, listen, I've closed over 100 homes every year. This is how I do things. I explain to them that my buyers have been had a very lengthy discussion of what the inspection period is for. We talk about me, myself as an agent, that I definitely inform my clients. They know what's coming. They know what to expect. They also understand that in a market with short supply of inventory, we may face an appraisal challenge. So both myself and the listing agent, again, if we're selected, I'm going to have that discussion with them of, I've pulled these comps and you've pulled these comps. We've got them prepared in the event that we do have an appraisal issue. And again, appraisers are not necessarily the ones that are staying up on what the market is doing and why, properties are selling above list price. 23% of properties June so far, just this month so far, have sold above list price. That tells us that the competition is strong out there, right? So I'm pitching myself, and then I'm going to pitch my offer. I'll give you an example. I pitched one last night that was a 3% down. Now, in my opinion, again, if I've talked to the lender and the buyer can qualify for 3% down, it tells me they're a pretty strong credit profile. So when I explained this offer to the other agent, I explained to them they're choosing 3% down. The reason they're going 3% down is they have the funds, but they're coming from a smaller apartment and they're going into a bigger home and they want to buy all new furniture. So they want to leave those funds available to do so. Obviously, I get all of this in approval with my client before I present that, but I want to go over the offer as a whole. I go over with them the list price, the down payment. There's nothing I don't discuss with them because I'm not embarrassed, or neither do I want the listing agent to feel that I'm embarrassed of the offer and I just want to get it over to them. If they've got 5, 6, 7, 8 offers coming in, how are you going to stand out? How are you going to be the offer that they place emphasis on? And that at least they remember, I talked to that Torie and I know what her clients are offering. And even when they've got 9 in front of them, I have done certain things to continue to put myself at forefront of mind. So the very next thing after I pitch that offer is I get my lender on the phone, right? And I have my lender pick up the phone and call the listing agent. It's powerful. Even if they don't answer, the lender can then leave a voicemail. Just wanted to go over the fact that buyer X is very well qualified and all of the things, again, why this buyer is solid. So now I've pitched, my lender has called the listing agent. Then the next thing I'm going to do when I'm on the phone with this listing agent, are many of you guys using Transaction Desk yet? Or are you guys still DocuSign or other? If you guys are using Transaction Desk, it's something that we converted to, figured we'd get it in before everyone else, before all the questions flood. And we've been effective and using it now for several months. It's very efficient. I love it. At first, I thought it was going to make me crazy, but once you get into it and use it frequently, I think you'll find that it's pretty efficient, and we do like using it. But I explained to the listing agent, in a matter of efficiency, I am going to copy you on Transaction Desk. If you reply to that email, it won't necessarily come back to me. So as soon as we hang up, I'm going to text you my name, my client's name, and my email. Now, again, all I'm presenting is that I am on top of this. I am the agent that is going to stay on top of things, and I can get this file to closing, and I'm going to follow through with everything I'm doing and telling you I'm going to do. Then the minute I hang up, that's exactly what I do. I text the agent, hi, this is Torie Ellens. I'll be submitting an offer for your property on X. My buyer's name is X. And this is my email. If there's anything, if you review it, you have any questions, please let me know. On transaction desk, I customize the invitation specific to the listing agent. To my clients, it's going to say offer and docs on X property. To the listing agent, it's going to say, depending on what I've written, right? If right now, if I'm writing above full price or escalation clauses, and we'll talk about that, that's literally what the title of the email is going to say to the listing agent. Above full price offer with escalation clause, all capital letters from Torie Ellens. Again, I've texted them. Now they're seeing my name on the transaction desk, and I'm watching the transaction desk for the minute my client completes signing, and then I text that agent again. The offer is in your email, and it's titled X. So I'm very thorough, maybe too thorough for some, but I'll tell you what, it has helped me many times stand out, because most agents aren't going to do this. Most agents just want to get the contract in, and they're not worried about taking the time to push why their client, why their offer, and how am I going to set myself apart from everyone else out there. The biggest thing you can know is that you have to adapt, right? This is what we had to do during when we were shut down, or when we had to do more virtual showings. Everything in business is adapting. If you're not adapting, you're dying. So right now we're adapting to writing multiple offer or receiving multiple offers, going up against multiple offers, and then escalation clauses and appraisal protection. Now, before you, again, before you do this, you should already have had the discussion with your clients pre-writing an offer. Remember, guys, when you get to writing an offer, there's a few things that happen with the buyer. They're super excited. They found the home that they love. They're really excited, and they just want it so bad, and they're ready to write the offer. Number one, that's not the time to talk anything more than the finances of the offer. It's not the time to start explaining, oh, the closing costs, or oh, this, or oh, that. You want to have that discussion up front in that buyer consult. Having them educated on the process and how things are going to happen. Again, I shared with you on the last class, I provide them with a sample contract, and I tell them, please review this. Please make sure you look it over. I don't need you to be an expert. I am, but I want to get any questions you have answered now. Because when we write this offer, it's going to be a matter of like 15 minutes, electronic signing, and boom, it's to the other agent. That's not the time I want you to see this contract for the first time. So when we talk about escalation clauses and appraisal protection, when I'm in that buyer consult, I just tell people, we are seeing, and I use stats. In April, it was X%. May, it was X. In June, so far, 23%. We are seeing properties go above list price with multiple offers. So we want to be able to position ourselves to stand out right up front. If they don't have the ability to do this, I understand, but these are some of the things that we are writing in, and I'm seeing them not only on my listings, but I'm seeing them for my buyers, and I'm seeing them be effective. If an agent says to you they're not comfortable with the escalation clause, I would ask them why, and listen to what their concern is. Because if an escalation clause gives their clients more money in their pocket, I'm not sure why a listing agent would be opposed to that. So typically when they say they're not comfortable with it, there's something else behind it that we can get to the issue, and I can conversate, explain through, and work around, right? I think the escalation clause is one that you want to have very specific verbiage. You don't want to just escalate the purchase price. You want to make sure you're protecting your client in doing so, making sure that the third party, or that the seller provides you that third party offer for approval prior to escalating your price, and obviously being able to block out the third party offer's name for protection. Here's an escalation clause. Essentially it says, I, the buyer, is willing to pay X above, whether that's 500 or 1,000, above the highest third-party competing net offer, and then a maximum price. Now, I've been a part of a few contracts lately. There was no escalation max price. Now, if you do that, understand that if you forget to put a max price, usually I cap mine at about 10K, but that's not always the case. You've got to be able to, one, talk about the fact that if the property doesn't appraise for that escalation price variance, what's going to happen? Because as a listing agent, I'm concerned about that, right? You have to see if there's an ability for that buyer to pay that difference if it doesn't appraise. So if I escalated by 10K, can my buyer pay that variance between list price and escalated price out of their pocket? but don't just throw an escalation clause and not be prepared for the challenges you may face. So one, is there a max price, what that max price is, and then making sure that you give the seller the right to protect the third party privacy name and all that, but then provide you with a copy of that highest offer prior to escalating your price and you approving it. And then as well in that appraisal protection, and I've seen this different ways. So we wrote one yesterday where I literally escalated the price by 10K. And in that escalation, I said that if the property fails to appraise for the escalated price of X, that the buyer would pay cash/certified funds the variance between the list price and the escalated price, again with a maximum of that X dollar amount. But I've also seen appraisal protection that states if the property fails to appraise up to $10,000, let's say, of the sales price, that the buyer will pay that in cash or certified funds. Now, I understand, guys, not all buyers, especially your buyers that are needing closing costs or maybe are first-time buyers, not all buyers are going to be able to do this. But make sure that you have this discussion with your clients up front. If they can do it, this is a very strong option to present to people. So when I offer with appraisal protection, basically in the case where I've escalated, I will define that we're going to pay the difference between the list price. So let's just say it was $365 and we've escalated to $375, or the potential escalation. Then I'm going to define that my buyer will pay the difference between list price and the escalated price, meaning because we don't know at that point what the escalated price would be, but with a maximum of X. So if I've escalated to $375, then I would define out the buyer will pay the difference. If the property fails to appraise, the buyer will pay the difference in cash or certified funds between the list price of $365 and the potential or the escalated price up to a maximum of $375. What you don't want to do is get a buyer who goes, oh yeah, we'll escalate to $375, and the appraisal comes in at $365 and you haven't had that discussion and the deal falls apart. Listing agent is furious, buyers are furious, sellers furious, everybody's unhappy. Make sure you address it up front. Not everybody has the ability to pay that difference, but make sure you address it up front. A lot of the buyers, I don't know, depending on the source, a lot of buyers may come to you already qualified with a lender. And then obviously you have that discussion of, listen, having the lender that's going to be able to protect you throughout this process, meet the deadlines of the contract, provide the LSUs when needed. We just had a buyer last week that every step with this lender, it was her lender. We tried to get her over. We had her do the normal process to a lender that I knew would take better care of her. It didn't happen. She went with her lender, and every step of the process was a fight. I literally had emails and texts that I had to copy and paste over to my buyer to get her lender to comply with the contract. And every step was a fight. He said to me, I'm too busy for this. And again, now I've got the ability to show the buyer, like, hey, I need your help because your lender says he's too busy for this. And this isn't something you can be too busy for. So make sure that one of the things that you can approach is if they come over already approved with a lender, that you have them talk to your lenders, and show the other listing agent that, hey, this buyer has been approved with multiple lenders. This is not just one lender, especially if it's some lender that is like online that you're not sure of. Have them the ability to show that they're qualified with another lender, and you've got that other lender. If they don't go with, ABC lender, that you've got somebody in backup that can move this file forward quickly. So again, that's not going to make or break it, but it's just one other thing that you can do to show strength for your buyers.
We love meeting with you and showing you these videos, so I hope you enjoy this series. And at the end, again, if there's any questions you have, if there's anything we can help with, please feel free to follow us on all of our social platforms or reach out to me directly at 602-288-8881. And again, I hope you enjoy this.